you want to sit here, Yoko?
I'll
Try and
sit
get a better...
Let's see if I can
sure?
go around a little bit.
Yeah, this is the first one.
Do you want to sit here? Sorry, don't worry.
Can you hear me? Right, thanks Chris. Good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. My name is Graham and this is Charlie. Hang on, that's not right. Sorry, my name is Greg.
And I'm Chris. I may point out to those of you who may be feeling the effects of alcohol already that there are two of us standing up here and you're not seeing double.
As you probably guessed, we are the best men. Famed for our double act, but probably for all the wrong reasons. That's me. Why Chris gave us this responsibility, he's anyone's guess, considering when we've had a few drinks and a few more, he likes to take his clothes off and I start breaking things. So I suppose it can only be down to the fact he enjoys living dangerously. On that note, I understand Gemma has specifically requested that we don't end up using the wedding cupcakes as cannon fodder. So Gemma, you have our words, almost.
We'd like to think of our speech today as like a mini-skirt, long enough to cover the essentials, but short enough to keep you interested. We'll try not to keep you too long, as I know you're eagerly anticipating the main event, which is Chris dancing. Bit of Saturday Night Fever for you, Chris being JT on the dance floor. No, not John Travolta, just terrible. We're both unaccustomed to public speaking and fairly nervous before today's speeches. In fact, the last time we were this nervous, we were waiting for Greg to get around him.
But Chris did actually say if we do a good job today, we can be his best man at his next wedding too. Firstly, may I take this opportunity to say on behalf of the entire wedding party, what a fantastic day it's been so far. Lovely ceremony, and Gemma, may I say you look absolutely gorgeous today. You do look truly stunning. And Chris, well, you just look absolutely stunned.
I may have to say, I'm actually very impressed with the way you managed to turn out today, Chris. Never have I seen you looking so smart. Well done, mate. You may just be wondering why I'm surprised. Well, Chris's fashion sense has never been great. Especially back in the day when we go to Duke's and he would wear one of the most hideous wine shirts. It's a good job he's met someone who can teach him some style. It's both a privilege and a pleasure to also speak on behalf of the bridesmaids. We'd have to say that you look wonderful today and have done an excellent job helping out. A quick thank you to the ushers for having a wash and remembering to have a shave.
We'd also like to thank each and every one of you for being here today to celebrate this wonderful occasion with Chris and Gemma. I know they appreciate you all being here today to share this special day. Some of you have travelled long distances to be here, so thanks for being part of such a wonderful occasion. It's amazing how far people go for a free meal and a few glasses of beer. So if you'd all like to stand and raise your glasses for our first toast to the happy couple on behalf of everyone here today. So Chris and Gemma.
I've got a link.
We've been reliably informed that it's not everyone. There are in fact a further 40 or so for the evening. So guys, a sterling effort for trying to outdo the royal wedding on attendance alone. Chris, the decision you've made to marry Gemma is a good one. You've got someone who's beautiful, charming, smart, funny, loving and caring. And Gemma, well, you've just got Chris. But in all honesty, Chris, you're hard-working, kind, industrious, genuine, amazing, and Chris, I can't read your writing. We'll
Seriously, our groom Chris has been a very good mate of ours since the age of about 10, so about 20 years. A strapping young lad with his big spiky hairdo and his buck teeth with braces. At one point he was nicknamed Hedgy Metal. Believe it or not, during the early years with Chris we used to be skinny little runts. Yes, I did say runts with an R for hard of hearing at the back. It's a biological mystery how Chris remains so lean, considering his overzealous appetite. You see, he'd often come round to mine for dinner after school. He'd eat his, have seconds, and would often sometimes have some of mine when I wasn't looking. He somehow continued to remain in the shape for many years, but needless to say, it finally seems to be catching up.
Chris's introduction to alcohol was a rather memorable one. During a certain holiday in Mallorca, the naivety of ordering vodkas and orange continuously throughout the night didn't bode well for his stomach, and as a result, he decided the best place to throw up would be on the bonnet of a car in a rental forecourt, which sat on the main strip through Alcudia. Needless to say though, business was slow for the hire company the next morning. But he wasn't finished there. After eventually finding his room on the 4th floor of the hotel, the sickness continued and again made the executive decision that rather than throw up in the toilet like a regular person would do, it would be better to do it over the side of the balcony, 4 floors up, in full view of the guests sitting in the bar nearby.
Then there was the one of many times we went out boozing and we thought it would be a good idea to have a drink from each of the dozen or so spirit optics, which include the ingenious mix of rum and Ribena. How wrong we were. After leaving the pub, Chris managed to fall into a ditch, wearing his new leather jacket, and ended up with rather impressive cuts up one of the sides of one of his legs. Unsurprisingly, he struggled to explain how this happened when he got home.
On the odd occasion, Chris revealed his rebellious side. He'd often play football with James in the back garden, and like many of us when we were kids, would lose the odd ball over next door's fence. Chris must have been trying for a world record by losing 14 of so balls over the same fence without any return. So after many attempts to get them back, Chris got angry. He decided the best form of vengeance would be to place explosive bangers under the wheels of the neighbour's car, which resulted in the poor dear probably thinking she was under fire from terrorists.
It may not sound like it, but Chris has genuinely been seen as a fairly quiet, introverted character who doesn't like to draw too much attention to himself. But he went to new levels when proposing to Gemma. After making grand plans to pop the question in the heart of Disney World, he bottled it, blaming bad weather, and consequently resulting to the romantic gesture of doing the deed in his hotel room. He could be the first person to call off their proposal due to bad weather. When it eventually got to the point of proposing, being a traditionalist, Chris did the kind, honest, decent thing. He went down on one knee, and then the other, and asked Gemma's dad to pay for the wedding.
Marriage is all about love, sharing, and when you look at it, teamwork. And in that respect, Chris and Gemma complement each other very well. Gemma cooks and Chris eats. Chris drinks and Gemma drives. Chris makes a mess and Gemma tidies up. I'm sure we're not the best people to dishing out this advice, but we may have the following words of wisdom for the happy groom. Firstly, set the rules early and establish who is boss, then do everything she says.
The best way to remember your anniversary is to forget it once. Married life can be compared to football. So firstly, make sure you score at least once every weekend. Make sure you change ends at half time. Get your tackling hard. Although be aware that playing away from home is likely to result in a serious groin injury. And it's definitely the quickest way to get yourself a free transfer. And always remember these 3 little words. You're right, dear.
Chris, 3 of us have been such good friends for a very long time now. We've had such good times over the years, some of the very best. I just want to say a massive thank you and a great honour being your best men today. We feel as though we've got to know Chris better than most people, and we can honestly say we've never seen him happier. We're so pleased that he's found such a wonderful woman in Gemma, someone who can spend the rest of his life with.
Now it gives us immense pleasure to invite you all to stand one more time and to raise your glasses in a toast to Chris and Gemma, the new Mr. and Mrs. Brown. We wish you all the best for the future and may you enjoy a long and happy marriage. To Chris and Gemma.